All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are headed out west
Okay.
into the desert Southwest
Right.
to learn about one of the most fascinating and maybe even infamous creatures that calls that environment home,
Okay, which one are we looking at today?
the Arizona bark scorpion.
Ah, yeah, those guys are pretty intense.
Yeah, so we got a great excerpt all about their lives, like their adaptations to that environment and how they managed to not only survive,
Right.
but thrive
Yeah.
in that super harsh environment.
It's really something else, the desert.
Yeah, and especially when we're talking about, a scorpion
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that glows in the dark.
Oh, right. Yeah, the UV thing.
Yeah, and packs a serious sting.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with those guys?
Yeah, no. These are definitely creatures to respect. So
Sure.
why don't we jump right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the first thing that really stood out to me about these scorpions
Good.
was their lifestyle.
Okay,
They are nocturnal.
that's right. Yeah.
Living in the desert, you would think that the night
Yeah.
would still be pretty brutal.
Oh, for sure. It's still hot,
But
but it's way better than the daytime.
so what's the advantage there? What's the evolutionary advantage of being a night owl in the desert?
Well, it's all about energy and water conservation.
Okay.
When it's cooler at night, they don't have to expend as much energy to regulate their body temperature, and they also lose less water,
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
which is essential for survival in such a dry environment.
Right, every little bit counts.
Exactly.
Now being nocturnal also means they need to be pretty skilled at hunting in the dark, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So what do these little guys eat?
Oh, they're not picky eaters. Pretty much anything that moves.
Okay.
Insects, spiders, even other scorpions if they're feeling bold.
Wow, so it's a scorpion eats scorpion world out there.
Sometimes, yeah, it can get pretty competitive.
That's intense. And they're doing all of this in the pitch black.
Right. It's amazing.
How are they finding their prey?
Well, they've got these incredibly sensitive hairs on their legs
Okay.
that can pick up the tiniest vibrations in the sand.
Oh, wow.
It's like they have a sixth sense for movement.
So they're basically walking around with built-in radar.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's how they navigate and hunt in the darkness.
That's incredible.
But, it's not a foolproof system.
Right.
Because they've also got to watch out for predators.
Oh, yeah, like who preys on scorpions?
Well, in the desert, you've got owls, bats, those kinds of guys.
I mean, owls and bats are pretty stealthy themselves, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're top-notch predators.
So how do those sensitive hairs hold up against, like, a hunting owl?
Well, it's kind of an arms race,
Oh, okay.
Owls and bats have their own advantages, like sharp talons and echolocation.
Right.
So the scorpion's vibration detection is really just one part of a complex web of survival strategies.
That's like a constant game of cat and mouse
Exactly.
out in the desert.
Every creature's got to be on its toes, so to speak.
Of course, we can't talk about scorpions
Hmm?
without talking about the sting, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
What's the deal with the Arizona bark scorpion's sting? How bad is it?
Well, they're actually known for having particularly potent venom.
Okay.
And while fatalities are rare thanks to anti-venom,
Right.
the pain from their sting is, well, it's pretty notorious.
I guess I've never been stung by a scorpion, so.
You're lucky.
For those of us who haven't had the pleasure, what does it actually feel like?
People describe it as intense, burning, tingling, even numbness in some cases.
Well, that doesn't sound fun at all.
No, it's definitely not a pleasant experience. But it is important to remember that they only sting defensively, not out of aggression.
Right.
They'd much rather avoid confrontation if they can.
Okay, so it's all about respecting their space and taking precautions.
Exactly.
So far we've been talking about how they survive out in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
But what about when they venture into our territory? Right. Like into our homes and stuff.
Yeah, they're actually pretty adaptable. And they've learned to thrive in urban areas, too.
Really?
Yeah, they seek out cool, dark places, which often leads them right into our houses.
That's kind of unsettling.
Yeah, it can be a bit unnerving.
Like I've heard stories about them hiding in shoes and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic where
You put your shoe on and bam, scorpion sting.
not a good way to start your day.
So what can people do, to prevent these kinds of unwanted encounters?
Well, homeowners in scorpion-prone areas really have to be vigilant.
Okay.
Sealing cracks, clearing debris, just keeping things tidy can really help.
Okay.
And then there's shaking out your shoes before you put them on. That's always a good idea.
Okay, that's good advice.
And then there's the whole UV light thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They glow under UV light, right?
Exactly.
But why? Why do they do that?
Well, honestly, it's still a bit of a mystery.
Huh?
Scientists haven't fully figured it out yet.
So what are some of the leading theories?
Well, one theory is that it could be a form of camouflage.
Camouflage.
Yeah, helping them blend in with certain desert plants that also fluoresce under UV light.
Interesting.
Another theory is that it might actually help them detect UV light.
Really? So they can see UV light?
That's the idea. It could be a way for them to spot prey or maybe even potential mates in the dark.
Whoa, wait. So they can see things that we can't even see?
It's possible, yeah. UV vision is pretty common in the animal kingdom.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing.
It really highlights how much we still don't know about the natural world, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So we've talked about their sting, their senses, their glow-in-the-dark exoskeleton. But there's one more thing that really struck me about these guys.
What's that?
Their ability to just deal with the dryness.
Right. Their resilience to dehydration is amazing.
How do they do it?
Well, for one thing, their exoskeletons are incredibly effective at minimizing water loss.
Okay.
It's like they're wearing little suits of armor that keep the moisture in.
And they also get moisture from their food.
Yeah, exactly. So they're really maximizing their water intake from every possible source.
That's so cool. I mean, it's really remarkable how they've managed to adapt and thrive in such a harsh environment.
Absolutely. The Arizona bark scorpion is a perfect example of the power of evolution at work.
It's a creature that demands respect, that's for sure.
Yeah. It really makes you think, though, if that fluorescence does play a role in camouflage.
Okay.
What does that mean for their interactions with other UV-sensitive creatures in the desert?
Huh.
Could it be a way for them to signal each other, or maybe even lure in unsuspecting prey? It's definitely a question worth exploring further.
Yeah, there's still so much to learn.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap things up here.
Sounds good.
Thank you all for joining us for another deep dive, and we'll see you next time.